Yes, my experience in automotive or transportation related technology is quite vast. From a very young age, I started off enjoying power sports products and understanding the design decisions at a very grassroots type level. I maintained the vehicles, I rode the vehicles, and I enjoyed the vehicles. After that point, I graduated to Four Wheels, which is automotives, and I have been basically obsessed with automotives my entire life. Most of my experience has been related to the automotive industry. I knew that I wanted to pursue mechanical engineering because I loved vehicles so much. As soon as I got to the University of Pittsburgh, I joined the Formula SAE team and I began working my way up the ladder from a design to a leadership role. I started off by machining some parts for the Formula SAE, which is a Formula style race car. I advanced to the ergonomics team where I designed the steering wheel and the pedal box for the vehicle. And then I advanced to the brake system head engineer where I performed the hand calculations and the development for the brake system, all the way from stress analysis to CAE to weight transfer calculations, all the way to the safety and the life cycle durability of the brake rotors. After my undergraduate, I worked at a company called Hauser Racing, where we produced aftermarket components for ATVs and side-by-sides, ranging from structural components like the roll cage to suspension components like A-arms and trailing arms and steering components for the vehicle. After this, I went back to graduate school at the University of Pittsburgh. I got my master's in mechanical engineering and also my MBA. During my time back in grad school, I was on the Formula SAE team again, continued to design parts for the car and be a leader of the brake system. After graduate school, I began working at Honda R&D Americas, where I am a design engineer for the power sports division. I'm responsible for the current generation optimization and the next generation development of ATVs and side-by-sides. I'm an owner of the fuel system and driver control system. But my experience with the automotive industries is much wider ranging than that. In my free time, I'm constantly just watching videos on YouTube, staying up to date with the technology that is on the road today, the different vehicles that the competitors are coming out with, the performance of each one of the vehicles, and kind of just trying to formulate an idea of exactly where the automotive industry is headed. And it is definitely headed towards electric and very high technology products and programs. Okay, so I kind of described it a little bit in the last question, but my experience with specifically brake systems level and steering components, I have more experience with those two subjects than automotive HVAC. I was the brake system head engineer for the Formula SAE team at the University of Pittsburgh. So I started off by designing the system with hand calculations, determining the weight transfer of the vehicle to find out the load on the front and the rear tires. From that point, I started performing stress analysis on the brake rotors to optimize them for weight, safety, and then from there, I advanced to manufacturing techniques. I worked closely with a machine shop to prototype our brakes and test our brakes. I was the leader of this team, and I had two lower level engineers who were freshmen and sophomore working beneath me. As for steering components, I have experience from steering geometry design all the way up to actual driver ergonomic interface. I designed the steering wheel, which was extremely high quality for the Formula SAE team. It was a carbon fiber plate, which was CNC machined out, and it had 3D printed grips, which were wrapped in suede, and it had 3D printed paddle shifters. I had to follow the strict rules of the Formula SAE competition to make sure the steering wheel fit within the driver envelope. And then for the steering system itself, I have some experience from an Optimum G applied vehicle dynamics seminar where I had to basically understand exactly what the different geometries, how they make the vehicle handle in the corner, how it induces roll in the corner, how the tires interface with the road from load sensitivity to slip angles, how each one of these is basically enhanced to increase the performance of the vehicle based on the vehicle's weight, based on the center of gravity. Um, yeah, so I don't have direct experience designing the steering system of any vehicles, but I do understand the differences that geometric points and different designs from steering racks to where the steering arms actually connect to the uprights, the spindles, the knuckles, whatever you should prefer to call them. I understand how that makes a difference in the handling of the vehicle. So I was faced with a very challenging technical issue recently at Honda R&D Americas whenever I inherited the drive control subsystem. One of the problems we were having with our vehicle was that the accelerator pedal had a touchiness and jerkiness to it, and we were having trouble figuring out why. Our vehicle still uses a cable throttle. Most of our competitors use throttle by wire, and I've been advocating to move to throttle by wire. But how I had to deal with the jerkiness of the accelerator pedal was I had to basically reverse engineer the mechanics of the accel pedal, because before this I didn't really have too much experience with the actual design of a cable system. On our Formula SAE car, we use throttle by wire. So what I had to understand was how the pedal ratio affected the throttle appetite of the vehicle. So if it was a higher ratio, the vehicle was more responsive to throttle input. If it was a lower ratio, it was less responsive. But at the same time, we had to ensure that we were going to pull the throttle cable enough to fully turn the throttle body to allow the vehicle to experience wide open throttle. So I had to really do some background digging, and in past documentations for Honda, I had to talk to some of the past PICs to kind of get an understanding of how this works. And I had to really just kind of compartmentalize my efforts, start making outlines of my documents, start documenting everything that I did so that it was easier to explain my process and explain the changes that I made on the vehicle. And ultimately, we've had a very big success on this, and the parts that I've designed are going into mass production for the 2021 year Honda Pioneer 1000. So some of the contributions I think that I'll be making to Workhorse is, well, the biggest one is the fact that I'm a very dynamic engineer. Not only do I have a mechanical engineering background, but I'm able to coordinate complex projects, and I have a sense of emotional intelligence where I can work very well with individuals from all walks of life. I'm very good with diffusing confrontations and kind of mediating situations. I'm very good with coordinating, maintaining communications, and also I have my MBA, so I have a very good wide-spanning understanding of the business operation of automotive OEM manufacturers. I can really help with the business development aspect of the company as well as mechanical engineering design. And I think that I am ready to work at a smaller up-and-coming startup than a large corporation because I'm a much faster-paced individual, and I really like to kind of attack the problem with ambiguity. I'm very comfortable with it. So I want to attack new problems, build value, and just kind of make a lasting impression on the company, which I think is more obtainable at a smaller, newer company like Workhorse. SolidWorks, yes. So my first CAD software that I ever learned was SolidWorks. I began learning it as a freshman in college, and I used it to design all of the components that I have produced on our Formula SAE car over the years. I love SolidWorks. I call it my baby because it was the first one that I ever learned. After SolidWorks, I have about probably 5 years of SolidWorks experience from undergraduate and graduate combined. After SolidWorks, I learned how to use Autodesk Inventor, and I really enjoy Inventor too. It's very similar to SolidWorks. I think that it has less glitches and it's actually crashes less than SolidWorks, but it's very similar to SolidWorks. At Honda, I have been using CATIA, and CATIA is very similar to SolidWorks, except it differs in the fact that all of the commands and the features are actually photos. They don't really have any label to them. You kind of just have to see the icon and you know what it means. But I have experience in all of those different CAD softwares, creating tube assemblies, weldments, um, uh, routing for electronics, brake line routing, solid designs such as accel pedal, brake pedal, steering wheel design, brake rotor design, uprights design, A-arms, um, chassis design. I can understand how to basically figure out new softwares really quickly, whatever they may be. And I really enjoy it. It's kind of like playing a video game for me, CAD modeling. Yeah, so crawling under a truck and turning a wrench, that is my foundation. That's how I grew up, working on my own ATVs and side by sides and dirt bikes, just learning how they were put together, taking them apart, fixing them, putting them back together, turning a wrench. I am actually looking for more of that. That's the reason why I'm looking for a new job, is because at Honda, I'm just constantly design engineering. You know, it's all CAD, and then the test function and the fabrication function are totally different. I don't really get to do any hands-on. Whereas at Hauser Racing, I was hands-on. I was a product manager and a design engineer. I was actually the head designer, and we designed the products, we fabricated them, we went out, and we tested the products. Same with Formula SAE. We design the products, we work with manufacturing to get them made, and then we go out and test them. And I'm hoping that that's what I can accomplish at my next professional occupation, is kind of getting that more hands-on, enjoyable outdoors type experience along with my design engineering background. Yes, I could travel domestically and internationally. In the past year, I've been to, actually not the past year, but 2019. I've been to 4 states, including Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Louisiana. And in the past 5 years, I have been to the UK, Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands. Oh, and Iceland. Oh, and Jamaica too. I really enjoy traveling. It's definitely one of my passions. I'm trying to travel as much as possible. You know, with my professional career, I do have, you know, some vacation time saved up. So it's nice to be able to travel now that I have some money, instead of just being in college trying to like bootstrap my way around. But yeah, I enjoy traveling and I can travel. So when I'm not in the office, on the weekdays, some of my hobbies and interests, whenever I get home, I'll like to go hit the gym. You know, just go to the pool after that. I come home and I usually will eat dinner, play some video games, and then I'll work on my startup. I'm actually the co-founder of a startup called Nickel Finance. If you're interested in that, I can tell you a little bit more about that if we move forward from here. On the weekends, though, it's totally different. I love automotives and power sports, like I said previously. Usually you'll find me jet skiing. I have a 2003 Honda R12X jet ski. So you'll find me jet skiing at Alum Creek State Park, Lake Erie. Back in Pennsylvania, we have the Three Rivers in Pittsburgh. You'll find me riding a dirt bike. At Honda, we can rent out PEP. It's called Power Sports Evaluation Program. We can rent out ATVs, side-by-sides, and dirt bikes. You'll find me racing. I go to track days. I have a Subaru STI, and I enjoy just getting behind the wheel, and I'm a performance driver as well. And then you can also just find me outside maintaining my mom's property. She has some wooded land in Pennsylvania, so I like to make sure that it stays maintained. The trails are clear if I want to go riding back there. The yard looks good. So yeah, I really do enjoy just kind of getting away from the screens when I can. Unfortunately, I do spend a lot of time on screens with my job and with my startup, but I think it'll all be worth it in the end, because over the past few years, I've really accomplished a lot professionally, and I'm happy about it. But I will never stop loving hands-on automotives and power sports. That's definitely my main passion is definitely fast cars and driving.